right, Geesman, 10-1 on the season. Coach, let's go back and let's just talk about this 1978 season. What jumps off the page that you could just give us a reflect?
Well, it started on a very depressing note, and it changed the way we did business in 2 days. When we had our scrimmage at the end of the first week, we used to go 1 against 1, 2 against 2. And that year, we lost Doyle Weaver, the broken hand. We lost Corey Yeoman, who was a returning starter, with a broken wrist, lost him for the year. Lost Jim Kalka, our starting quarterback returning, lost him for the year. And our only other upper class quarterback was Jeff Tallman, Ike Tallman's son, the basketball coach. And he hurt his shoulder, and we thought he might be out for the year. I mean, it was a complete wipeout, and there was depression around the start of the next week. All the kids that we were counting on having a good year, and now all the kids thought it was shot. So we had to rise above that and get the kids saying, you know, you don't worry about the kids that aren't here, you gotta worry about the kids that are here. I mean, if somebody's injured, you feel sorry for them, but you don't feel sorry for the team. You feel sorry for them because they're gonna miss out on all the good teams. But if someone's injured, we never have used the cliche best man in or next man in, but we have always said that one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity, and the expectations are for the position, not for the player. So we feel bad for the player that's hurt, but not for the team. But that was back in the day. We couldn't help feeling a little bit sorry for the team. And so ever since then, and then they continue it to this day, when we scrimmage, we go 1-0 against 2D, 2-0 against 1D. We never go one-on-one anymore in a scrimmage. We'll go from the goal line maybe for 4 plays, but basically we don't go one-on-one anymore, and that all started in the 1978 season. But
you referred to this in your book with Wes Doy as the Saturday Massacre.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an appropriate time-sensitive thing, because more often than not, coaches don't even know defining moments. We're in the midst of defining moments.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Just give me your thoughts on having that experience, that how that has affected the way you've coached over time in other aspects of your game.
Well, I'll tell you right now, once 2 days are over, our backs are never tackled again in scrimmage. Our scout team backs are not tackled by our varsity, and our starting backs are not tackled by the scout team. They're wrapped up, and that's it. And I just now, we have one other time a situation happened later where at the end of a practice, I said, one more play, and we messed it up, and I said, let's do it again, and I lost my starting tight end for the year. So I said, when I say it's over, it's over. If we mess it up, what we will do, we will walk through it, but the actual scrimmage is over. I mean, that's a little, you got to be a little fatalistic, I guess. If you're going to play the piano, you got to bang the keyboards some, but I just, those are a couple of little things that we seldom go one-on-one, and number 2, when we say practice is over, the contact is over, and we'll not go back and be upset and say, let's do some more. So, you always kind of evolve on things that happen to you.
Is it always a coaching growth moment during a defeat or a negative situation that you grow the most, or is it from a positive situation that you grow the most as a coach?
Well, I tell you, the ideal thing is you get a win, but you have enough to be upset about, and and get the kids' attention, and be able to go on from there. But I hate to say you lose more from a loss, because it's not necessarily. We've played great in losses and we've played bad in wins. So I mean, you like to be in a situation where you can improve and you have a lot to, a lot happens to get the kids' attention. I know Coach Wagner, he would, I'd like to show you one of his grading reports. They're 4-page long. It took him about 6 or 7 hours. He had comments for every one of the starting line on every single play. And he graded you a lot of different ways on if you got the job done, if your technique was correct, if your assignment was correct. And we would come in, I remember on Monday after a win, everybody be happy sitting in the auditorium, and then after about 6 plays with Wagner going crazy on the line, it's all silence up there, pretty soon silence everywhere, and people are wishing the film would hurry up. They were looking forward to seeing it, now they want to hurry up and get over with. So you can always, there's no such thing as perfection, and you can always find something to be unhappy about.
In 1978, you started the season with a 28-7 win against LaPorte, a 47-19 win against Riley, a 34-6 win against Clay, 35-7 win against South Bend LaSalle, and then 2 rough games in the middle of the season, even though you won the games, a couple overtime games, a 17-14 win against Elkhart Central, and a 21-20 overtime win against Mishawaka. So that was a little bit of a wake-up call midway through the season.
Well, yes, and I'll tell you, they were both very interesting games. That year, the most seniors we ever started on defense was 2, and usually only 1. So we were going to have to try to outscore people. We kind of knew it, and we did a pretty good job of it. And the one situation, the one interesting thing, the key game of the year was against Mishawaka, when we were ahead, and with like 2 minutes to go, we had 4th down inside their 3-yard line. And if we'd have kicked a field goal, it would have given us like a 5-point lead. So I decided we'd go for it, and if we didn't make it, they'd have the whole length of the field to go. So we went for it and didn't make it. And on the very next play, John Roggeman went 98 yards for a touchdown. They went for 2, and they ended up with a 7-point lead. Now we had like 48 seconds to go. And I'll never forget, we went down the field. Jeff Tallman was back. He was only missed like a week, and he had to wear a harness. It was on his non-throwing shoulder. But with about 14 seconds to go, we threw what we call, at the time, we called it waggle left. And Jeff to Lanicosis, and it was not complete. And we took our last time out, and Jeff and Lonnie both had run the same play and run the exact same play. Lonnie says, I know what I can do, and Jeff says, I saw it. I said, we'll guarantee it to run the same play. So it was an easy time, the same play. And we scored, and kicked the extra point and got it in overtime. And we scored on in overtime, and kicked the extra point and had a 7-point lead. Well, Mishawaka scored and went for 2, and they had a receiver wide open in the end zone, and we just barely got a piece of the quarterback as he threw, and he bounced it to a wide open receiver. So that shows you how close the between winning and losing is a pretty fine line. But I'll tell you another thing, if you ever wondered how many people listen to regional radio sports, Penn Network, I'll tell you, we had on the Penn Mishawaka game when I was announcing, we had a trivia question, and one of them was, who ran 97 yards for a touchdown the final minute to put Mishawaka ahead of Penn in 1978? And it lit up, and it was going, and they said 98. he went 98 yards, not 97. And I mean, the Mishawaka fans were coming out of the woodwork, and it was like, nobody's even answering the question. They were saying, get the question right first, then we'll answer it. So we had to go back and say it's a 98-yard run. But people take that trivia, they take it very, very serious. And not just Penn fans, I found out our opposition does too.
But, you know, you talked about the concerns with the defense. The defense in the next 3 weeks gave up only a combined 14 points.
Yeah. Well, you know, they weren't a bunch of plumbers. They were excellent players, but they were young and they didn't have the experience. And the next year we knew we were going to have the great defense, and we did. But that was a very, very good defense. It was just a very inexperienced, and they made some mistakes there in the course of the year. And I remember you mentioned the Riley game, and we gave up a lot of yardage that game. You know, we won it big. I remember we had Dan Goodman, Mark Ward, and Brad Slabaugh. All three of our running backs rushed for over 100 that night.
Mark Ward had a great junior, ended up with a great career, didn't he?
He sure did. He was back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher. And Paul, you just gotta pet that cat and let him get down in your lap or something. Get him out of the way.
Are we still rolling here?
Yeah, we're still on.
He's okay.
You want me to pause it?
Yeah.
This is what you call